extreme recommendations, do nothing and keep the current structure of the XPOT, or eliminate it altogether. And so the third approach was a tiered approach, and we had a lot of discussion, and it was pretty clear that we need to, if we're going to even consider that model, have more work done, because she was suggesting that if a high school district had X number of students, they could have 1 per 1,000 in MPS, unified 1 per 500, elementary, no, it's the other way around. Elementary 1 per 1,000, unified 1 per 500, and high school 1 per 300. But then that begs the question, when you have students who might be in a non-public school for $35,000 a year and some for $235,000 a year, how do you average that and make it fair? So I think the discussion today, and then we'll follow up with an action item, is we need to know where you want to take this. Do you want to investigate it more thoroughly and give us some direction in terms of the scope of what that would look like, so we can plan accordingly for next year?
So Susan, my suggestion to bring this back and have further discussion, I just felt like we haven't had time to thoroughly explore this. It's certainly not resolved. The work group has done an excellent job in coming up with some recommendations, but I don't think any of our satisfaction, or maybe perhaps we just haven't had time yet to explore that. So my recommendation was to continue with the work group, and I would ask those people on the work group if they want to continue rather than just transition off to new members before we just assume that, because they've done a lot of work. And then finally, with Janelle, asking her to come back, I think she brings a lot of value to the group for knowledge or skill. I don't want to throw in the towel. I think we can keep working on this and continue to look for some solutions.
She has 8 hours left.
8
No
hours.
contract. That'll take us
Good
a little
start.
way. A little way, yeah. A good start.
Okay, any other inputs to Susan?
No. Okay. We'll take it up to action.
Thank you, Janet. So that'll move us into D. We do have a card for D, consent items, and that's Captain Lara.
Okay, I think on that one I was just reiterating again the XPOT, and I think I'm just reiterating again the XPOT and how we are spending lots of money in XPOT for litigation and for parents that aren't getting services. I know you had stepped out of the room, and parents are needing assistance and needing services, and rather than getting provided services, SELPA is denying a lot of stuff, and I think the local districts need to take hold rather than having SELPA dictate them. SELPA tends to deny services rather than the local districts taking control of their own communities, and rather than taking care of students yourselves, I think rather than funding XPOTs, this is what we need to do, and take care of our students, because it's not happening. We've got kids that are greatly getting neglected, and that's rather than funding these big, huge XPOTs, particularly when we're less a school district, and now we're adding 25% more into it. I don't understand how you're doing that. That's really bad financing. I mean, if it were your personal bank accounts, does that make sense? There's something awfully wrong with accounting here, and somebody needs to go back and check that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that leads us into section D, superintendent's business consent items. Do we have a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Moved by James, is there a second? A second by Doug. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the consent items have been approved. Just to note that we did take out 15 earlier when we got to the agenda that have not been received yet, so all the others will And that leads us into section E, superintendent business action items. The first action item we have is 2018-19 annual budget and service plans. Susan?
Perhaps we could have a motion to approve, and if there's any discussion, or Tim and I can go through, but you were all through, I believe, for the presentation.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the 2018-19 annual budget and service plan?
So moved.
Moved by Janet, second?
Second.
Second by Mitch, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, that's approved. That'll lead us into section, item B2, which is a 2018-19 West Ed contract. Susan?
So I just outlined what I just shared with you a few minutes ago, kind of a historical perspective on what happened and the recommendations that Janelle made as a result of his study and talking to teams in each of your districts and everything else. So the fiscal impact will depend on how extensive of a study you want her to conduct. I'm thinking you could either say you want the scope to be this, and we could take it to her, and she could come back with a proposal that we could bring to you in our first meeting in September, or you could tell us a limit or something today, and we could tell her the scope, and here's the limit of what we have to do, to deal with, and what would you like to do.
How much time has she spent on the work she's done so far?
Is it 30 hours?
I only remember she has 8 hours left. I don't know how much she put into it. But
The total cost was
it was
20,000.
about.
So are we sending her back to try to find another solution?
So I think you were out of the room, maybe even Janet, when you said you wanted to reiterate it. You said,
I just thought if she were to come back and continue some work with the work group, perhaps they could find some other solutions, or maybe elaborate more on the ones that she's provided. For instance, I'm curious about the tier recommendation that she suggested.
I apologize, we cannot hear.
Okay, thank you. Can you just speak up on the table, so there's microphones for you.
I'm curious if there's any comments from the people on the work group. Any thoughts from the people?
I'd like for everyone to feel like they have all the information they need to make an informed decision. So if there's a thought that there wasn't enough time to really digest what Janelle presented to us, or that Janelle could do something more in-depth, then I would support the continuation of her contract of services. And if not, then we know that it's a complex issue in a diverse group of school districts.
and a question I would like to pose to her would be, if we were to go to this tiered approach, compared to, let's say, the 80-20, for the amount of work that it would take every year to pull student data and contracts and all kinds of things to get to that information, would the difference be negligible? I think that would be a very key question, because if it's very negligible, I think it's a lot of effort that has to be done annually, and it's very complicated for not.
And does the work group without Janelle's assistance, could they continue to look at some of those tier approaches now that she has given us the ideas under week 10? It seems to me that maybe the work group was already on a doing a really good job. So you need Janelle, is the question.
We still have her for 8 hours.
So maybe start there.
She could run the models, I would think, in 8
Yeah.
hours.
I think that's a very real possibility.
Okay.
One of the things that she shared when we were here last time was that when she arrived, one of the things she asked herself was, why am I here? The work group's already done all this work. So it sounds like there was a lot of confidence on her behalf of the work group and their ability to continue that work.
I agree with that. That's the
comprehensive.
So when you say there's 8 hours left, there's 8 hours at no additional cost?
Right, of Janelle's time.
So let's start there. So we need
Like, is it the contract's already in draft, if you get a motion to approve it?
We're good?
Okay.
This direction?
Well, I think,
Continue.
I think this item, Susan, is if we want another contract after the current contract, so it
Right,
sounds like
so
no,
we're
right?
going to
Okay.
fulfill the contract we have, very good.
Okay.
Okay, so it does not appear that we'll need a motion to have an additional contract with us at this point. Rather, it seems that we'll move forward with the existing contracts, and if there is a need, we'll come back to the board for consideration. Okay, so that'll lead us into item E3, which is the 2018-19 ex-pot reimbursement percentage adjustment.
Thank you. This action item is to officially change the ex-pot split for non-public school and non-public agencies only from 70-30 to 80-20. You have, the 80% would represent the district's responsibility for expenditures, and the 20% would represent the ex-pot's responsibility. You have a legal size insert. You could just take a moment to look at that. The first table on the top, that's just our projected expenditures for the next school year. The second table shows how much. I'm not sure I
We don't want to bring Siri.
So the second table shows at our current split of 70-30 how much districts are projected to reimburse the ex-pot. It's highlighted in yellow for you on the right-hand column. It's just under $11 million. And then by changing that to a 70-30 split to an 80-20 split, in table 3 you can see how much more money that brings in. It's highlighted in orange, but it's about $12 million or about $1 million higher. Table 4 shows the difference between the two numbers. Sorry.
Tim, I'm sorry, I'm before we move forward on item E3, we did have some cards that I didn't recognize, so I'll
Okay.
get to that first.
Sure.
So we have item E3, we have 2 cards, and the first one is Martina.
Thank you. And it's really hard for me to hear, and I'm in the front row. So the back rows, I'm pretty sure they were not able to hear. Also, I'm going to get a lot of complaints when I put it in YouTube saying I cannot hear what they're stating. And we want to be transparent as possible, right? Because it is taxpayers' money. So with that, when you belong to an affiliation, when you have a membership somewhere, some of the questions that you might ask yourself is, how will this benefit my students? How will extra money help educate our students? Why not become your own single SELPA? Like what happened when Weston SELPA terminated Ole Miss D. Ole Miss D is thriving. They're doing really good. Like they stated before, I came from a CEC meeting. It was very transparent, very open to suggestions, nothing like Weston SELPA. Take a look at Ole Miss D model. Look at the OAH letter against Royal Lord III. Look at your consent agenda. Look at the items there and look at the litigation being presented to you. Ask yourself, how is this agency helping my district? Isn't local control better? I recommend that you larger districts think about that when it comes to local control and funding your own special education programs. Thank you.
Thank you. And the second individual for E3 is Flora Martinez.
I would first like to thank the body for coming up together with the outline of what the ex-pot contributes to. And I do urge the body to table this motion just because of what was discussed previously amongst you guys, that you guys don't have you guys want more information to go ahead and really come up with a concrete decision. So yeah, I'm urging the body to go ahead and table for the work group to come back up and let you know more information about what's going on with the Xbox. Thank you.
Thank you, and that will complete the cards for this item. Tim, please continue.
Okay. So, again, this item is to officially change the XPOT split from 70-30 to 80-20 for non-public schools and non-public agencies only. I went through the legal size insert already. So I will say the biggest thing to look at when we're looking at fiscal impact is not only the split change, but how it affects the XPOT contribution rate. So with a higher 80-20 split, that means you have a lower XPOT contribution rate. So I did a table in the narrative that kind of shows basically at a 70-30 split, your XPOT rate would have been over $60. That's highlighted in yellow for you. So I'm showing in column A a $60 XPOT contribution plus a 70-30 split projected reimbursement for each district. And then I'm comparing it to the orange cells. Basically, the 80-20 split equates to a lower $48.40 XPOT contribution rate. So column G compares the yellow total in column C to the orange total in column F. So you can kind of see how it affects each district. SELPA-wide, there's not much change. But districts with higher non-public school or non-public agency costs, they actually will put in more, obviously, because the 80-20 split has to do with their usage. One thing to keep in mind is that the item after this is the official approval for the XPOT contribution rate of $48.48, and it's dependent on having this 80-20 split change approved. Were there any questions on it?
So Tim, the intent is this is for 2018, right?
Correct. So as previously discussed at our last meeting, I believe we were going to do this change for the 18-19 school year, and then that would give the work group time to analyze any further changes that might be needed in the future.
Any further questions for Tim? And if not, is there a motion?
So moved.
It's moved. Todd, second.
Second.
Okay, second by Mitch. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this item E has passed. Thank you, Tim. That will lead us to item E4, which is 2018-19 XPOT contribution rate. Tim.
Thank you. So some of the budget assumptions we're working with, I mentioned earlier, a 3% COLA and inflationary increases to health and welfare, and the same person stirs increases that we're all dealing with. I also included a 25% increase to district XPOT expenditures. And again, the change to the XPOT split for MPS MPA from 70-30 to 80-20. So the XPOT contribution rate will be $48.48 per ADA. That is still about $5 higher than it is this year, but keep in mind there's that 25% increase, as well as we're projecting a pretty significant decrease in ADA of about 2,000 students. So if you want to go to the page after the narrative, I'll walk you through how I come up with the $48.48. We have a projected revenue total of about $12.4 million. After I subtract the projected expenditure total of $16.6 million, that leaves an excess cost of about $4.2 million. I divide that total by your projected ADA to come up with the $48.48 XPOT contribution rate for 18-19. The table below shows how much that $48.48 would cost you based on your projected ADA. But the page after that actually shows the same table that we looked at previously, which you have to look at not only the rate, but as well as your reimbursement based on the 80-20 split. So it's the same table we saw earlier, just on a bigger viewing page.
Okay, are there any questions for Tim regarding the 2018-19 XPOT contribution rate?
And the projected increases for NPS, parent waivers, and parent legal, are those based on historical increases?
Yeah, when I looked at